Hi there, guys. I'm Chris Bowden, and welcome to the Geek Group. I'm here today with Craig, also known as Enos.
Hey, everybody.
And today, we're going to teach you how to rebuild the carbs on your old 70s Honda motorcycle. We have a 1975 Honda CB550 inline 4, and you apparently are like the master of motorcycles.
I play around a bit. I wouldn't say
a
master.
thing or two?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay, so we've got them here on the counter, and these are pretty much never been touched.
No, they're look like they're stock from 70 whatever that thing is.
Well, it's a 75. That much I know, and beyond that, its history is shady at best.
It's looking like it needs to be cleaned. So
Okay.
we'll take care of that today and see what we can do.
All right.
Hopefully should be starting up at the end of the shoot.
That would be amazing if the bike starts at the end of the video. That's the win.
Hopefully we're not setting ourselves up. You know.
We'll see. We've got drama now. We've built tension.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dig into these. You've got a whole system here, and I'm going to try and stay out of your way as much as I can and ask questions and, try and be the surrogate audience.
All right. Ask any questions if I'm not explaining myself.
Well, let's start as we go through and just do a quick thing on what is a carburetor, what does it do?
All right. Your carburetor is your fuel. Yeah.
Just look at me.
Just look at
Yeah.
Your carburetor controls how much fuel you're getting, so it controls your fuel-to-air ratio.
Okay.
These little jets in here, they control...
Here, we can put that on the overhead. Show them that.
I can take one out and explain it as I'm going, and
Okay,
explain
do that.
what each part does. So,
All right.
this is the float bowl here. This is what controls how much pressure is behind the jets, and that makes sure that you don't have the full gravity of the tank pushing against the little flow control guys here, which I'll show you in just a second. All right, so everyone remembers physics. When you have a fluid passing over an orifice, you'll have a vacuum being pulled. So on the inside here, when the air is getting pulled through, it'll pull up an amount of fuel. The amount is dictated by how big this little hole is. You can't really see, flip it around, there you go. It's dictated by how big around that hole is. So
that's the jet. That's the
yes,
orifice.
this is the main jet here, and there's a needle in there that goes through and controls more, but we'll get into that in a few.
Okay.
This is what makes the big difference in whether or not your bike runs very well. That and ignition timing, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, that's a different video.
So, as we take this little guy apart, I'll tell you what everything is.
Okay.
These are your floats. These are what control how much fuel is in the float bowl there, and these are usually gummed up pretty good, so they're a pain to get out. So if you have a little push pin or a nail or something.
Now, the only thing that ever goes, because that's all sealed inside, the only thing that should ever go through there is gasoline. How do they get gummed up?
As gas ages, it turns into this nasty varnishy stuff. I mean, you can see what it looks like here because this one's been leaking out the back because it was loose. You can see the kind of stuff that builds up on the inside. This is pretty close to the same stuff as what you'd put on your deck.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's like a varnish shellac kind of substance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that gums up inside. Now this happens, I'm guessing, like over winter kind of stuff when the bike sits for a long time?
Right. The good thing to do when you're parking a bike for the winter is to take these screws off and drain the gas out so there isn't any gas sitting in the carb itself. You can see the little galleys here. There's a galley here, through here, and
what's a galley?
Galley is a space where either air or fuel flow.
Okay.
And there's always low
like
spots.
An interior cavity.
Right.
Okay.
Right. There are some in here which you can see there's a plug here. Yeah, there's a plug there where there's another galley that goes down for airflow.
Okay.
There's
primary jets and secondary jets, and I mean, there's a lot going on in there.
This one
Plus the choke.
This one just has two jets. There's the main jet, and then there's this little. This is your idler jet.
The pilot jet.
Pilot jet. Yep.
Okay.
pilot jet and idle jet are the same thing. You can see in here that he's got little tubes to let the air through. This one isn't actually too bad. The way to, if you can see if there's any buildup by holding it up to a light and looking through, which is, this one doesn't look too bad. The main jet that I pulled out earlier from this hole, that looked pretty goopy.
Okay.
It had some crusties on it.
So we've got kits here, and I see there's jets in there. It looks like 2 different sizes of jet, actually. And I see a little needle valve and C-clips and this big long needle here and gaskets and an O-ring and all kinds of stuff happening here. So these are all the wear parts?
Yep, over time they just, a fluid flowing over a hard surface will eventually erode it away.
Okay.
And this is brass, so if you ever feel the urge to go through and clean out the inside, say you don't have a carb kit or there's not a carb kit available, you can use soft copper wire to poke through and clean it out. That's kind of a hackish way to do it.
But it works.
But it works,
Okay.
right. Roadside repair, you do what you got to do. That's just how it goes sometimes.
Okay. So we're going to take this all apart and then replace all those parts with these parts?
Yep.
Okay, well, cool. Well,
One
let's get
by
on
one. All right. So this little guy here is the check valve or float valve that controls. Where is this? As this pivots in here, this little valve sits on top. He's got a little cone on the end. Sits on top. Once the fuel hits the specified level set by where this little tongue is, it will cut off the fuel flow. So you've got a set amount of pressure behind the fuel pushing on the top, which would in turn push on the jet on the bottom.
So the motorcycle, like this is the fuel reservoir, these bowls.
Right.
And this is designed to keep a constant level of fuel in there as you need it.
Right.
So it's gravity feed down to this, and this is where it sucks from. It sucks up under negative air pressure.
Exactly.
Okay. That's kind of neat. So these always just float. It's an automatic level sensor.
Right. The foam ones are great. These hard foam ones, they don't sink like the old copper ones do, and they can get the little crusty stuff on top there, and it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
If you run a high alcohol fuel through them, they will melt.
Oh, okay.
So you don't want to do that.
I run regular pump gas, so that's not a problem.
Oh, probably should have said something earlier. This little spring here helps keep the main jet pushed in to where it should be, so as you're going down the road, it doesn't vibrate out.
Oh, okay, and that just pushes up against the top of the bowl? Or
Yep.
bottom of the bowl. These are upside down. It's something we should explain to people right now. The carburetors, as they're sitting there on the table, are actually upside down.
So this one is just about done. Let's flip it over and take a look at this side.
Looks kind of like looking down into the top of a valve cover.
Yeah, kind of the same idea.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and when you look at it from here, you can see what's actually going on in there. As we roll on the throttle, it opens up that galley. It opens up
There's a
the
big
slide
piston
there.
in there that goes out of the way.
Yep.
That's neat.
And the choke on this is just a butterfly. It doesn't have an actual choke piston in it like some of the others. There's a piston in the side that covers up another galley.
Okay.
When you pull that open, it flows more fuel in. Instead of restricting the airflow, it just adds more fuel.
Oh, okay.
So it just
So this is an actual choke.
Right.
Okay.
They both do the same thing, just different ways of doing it. So, let's see. There's one more that came with the kit. Oh, right there. All
What are
right.
you going after?
This one right here.
Oh, what's that?
That is an air jet. I'm not sure which one, but we'll see. Hopefully we can figure out how to get to the other ones. As you're taking these out, first you want to run it in and see how many turns there are. So we've got 1.5. We'll say 1.5, 1.25, thereabouts. 1.5, 1.25 from the bottom.
Okay.
There's that guy. He looks a little crusty. And there should be a spring in there. Usually jets that are on the outside or something that is meant for adjustment will have a spring behind it. So it's always under load. There's always something there so it doesn't walk out.
It's one thing to do that on the ends. How do you do that when it's the second one in?
That's what I'm concerned about.
Where? This one down here? Let me know when you can see him. He'll be back. Look miserable. Can I help?
And this one came out without any real issues, so I'm guessing there was an air leak there that might have caused problems.
Well, that would explain some of the problems here.
They should come off a little tough like how this one is. You can push on it and it doesn't move.
That other one just popped right off, no
Just
problem.
Came right off.
That's bad.
And don't stab yourself. Always think about the failure mode of the screwdriver you're pushing on when you're taking stuff apart.
Important life lesson there.
As everyone has learned at some point in their life, screwdrivers stab. At least anyone who's worked on anything. Yeah, this one came apart pretty easy too, so.
Well, this is good. I'm glad that there are obvious problems with it because we're fixing those, and hopefully the bike will not only run now, it'll run worlds better than it has been. I'm actually glad we're finding things that are messed up, and there are things that are messed up that we're planning on fixing anyway.
Now, a good practice as you're going along and doing this is to keep your bits separated.
That's why you're putting them on the bowls?
Yeah, put them all in the bowls or however you want to do it. Just try and keep things somewhat organized. So if you need to come back and look for something.
Now, should we number the bowls or something?
Or
Or should we just set them up there, 1, 2, 3, 4, or something like that?
That's what I planned on doing, is setting up there 1, 2, 3, 4.
Now, just out of curiosity, which is carburetor number 1?
Well, it sits in the bike like this,
Okay.
and one's always on the right.
Oh, okay.
Unless you're in a Brit bike and then one's always on the left.
I'd have put one on the left, but that's just me.
Well, they're from Japan.
Oh,
and
okay.
the numbering system goes backwards.
Does it?
Well, not numbering system doesn't go
I thought they
backwards.
go top down.
They do that too. Could be talking out my butt, but
I honestly have no idea, but if you say number one's the one on the right, and everybody agrees on that, then okay, well, number one's on the right.
just usually try and put them in order of whatever's as it comes off.
Okay.
Well, this could have been another reason why it wasn't running very well.
Ooh, what?
We're missing this clip on this carb.
It's not even there?
It's not even there. And it looks like...
What, did somebody
So-
try welding on that or something?
Um,
That's pretty grody.
yes, it is.
That can't be good.
No.
So it's obvious somebody's been in this carb.
Yep. What they were doing, who knows?
All right, now hang on. That third one there looks different.
Yep.
The tube coming up. It's like all eroded and chewed off.
Right.
So what's up with that?
Well, my guess is this was bouncing around in there
Okay.
and slowly worked it out. See how this one's a lot sloppier than this is? This fits
Yeah.
a lot tighter. That'd be my guess.
So it's just erosion can do that?
Yeah.
How do we replace that cast part there? Can we order just that part, or because that seems like a fundamental thing? That's
That's
like
a
down into get a
whole-
whole new carb.
Yeah, that's a new carb.
Oh man, can we get those?
We'd have to find one of the boneyard places.
Okay.
Uh,
So it's still going to be a 30-year-old carb.
Right. If you wanted to go through and do a performance upgrade, we could switch over to Mikuni flat slides at about $50 a piece.
Okay. Well, we'll see if we can get that one to work right, and if we can't, that may be what we have to do.
We can, since we've got all these wonderful tools around, make a little sheet metal spring, because that's all this is.
Yeah, that's easy to do.
Just something to hold it in there and set it up so the gasket's down in there. These gaskets are a little warm. They're squished in and they're hard, so
Let me see.
the ones that come with the carb kit.
Wow, the O-rings on here are totally smooth and hard. It looks like plastic.
Yep. So if we push that down in there, it should hold.
Okay.
And let's go ahead and set these up here. There's been water in this.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which would explain why this cylinder probably didn't run worth a bent
That's
poop.
that's pretty impressively bad there. The whole bowl's all rusty.
Yeah, it'll take care of itself in the carb dip that we have over here, this wonderful
the-
magical solution.
The Auschwitz over here.
Yep. And here's one we're going to need a little assistance.
What do you need?
Probably going to need a pair of pliers.
Gerber Ninja.
There you go. Well, let's try and get this out of here first.
That didn't move at all, did it?
It's not moving much.
No, I meant like in normal operation. That wasn't moving at all. That's
No,
totally
no.
froze up.
That was set.
So no gas came through that at all.
Nope.
Wow. So that means that whole cylinder.
Was dead.
Wow. Okay.
Trying to get my head out of the shot. There we go. Come on.
Do you need a drift punch or something for that?
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Okay. Let me do some digging. I'll be back.
All right.
Okay. I bring you a whole collection of fun.
That should get it started here. Probably should have asked for a small hammer too.
And just use the side of the Gerber.
All right.
Right here. And that is the Gerber hammer.
Nice.
See? Works great. Now, do we get a new one of those pins?
No, we'll have to clean it up.
Okay. So that means don't chew it up too bad.
Right.
Okay.
Some carb kits come with them, some of them don't.
Wow.
It's set.
It's gungy. Oh, we don't need it all the way out. We can just take it that far out.
Yeah, we're still gonna need to. It'll need to get the
It needs
carb
to be
cleaner.
dressed, yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, that will not come out if we just try and rail it back in there.
Yeah, we should probably clean it up a little bit with a sander or something.
One thing I didn't talk about when you had walked away there was taking off the little seats for the needle valve, or for the check valve or float valve, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
These are usually set in there just as well as that pin was, and this one's going to be set in there. Moved. Some of them are screwed in and have a 10 mil head on it, so you can just grab a ratchet and spin it off. This one's gunged up pretty good. You can see that it had water behind it. But this is the seat for our little valve.
Oh, okay. And both of those are replacement parts in the kit.
Yes. Some kits have them, some kits don't. Try and get the ones that have it if you can.
So that's all the stuff out of the bottom half.
Yep.
What do we have to take out of the top?
Nightmares.
Nightmares. You're full of good news.
These are generally a two-man job to get the slide out. If there's anyone that knows any tricks, post them on the page down here.
Yeah, we'll put it in the
and
show notes.
I would love to know
Okay.
how to do this without.
Why do we have to take it out? What parts in here?
We have to put the needle valve in there,
Okay.
and there's also some adjustments for how high in the needle valve the little clip goes. There's a little circlip in here
Yeah, I saw the E-clip in there.
that will let you put this lower to lean it out, or slide it up a little more to richen your mixture.
That's got to be a pain to test and tune, because you have to take it all the way apart just to move the little clip.
It's not bad on some carbs. On these ones, makes people ragey. Let's see how we roll these all the way up.
If we just roll the idle screw here in, will that hold those up and out like that?
Won't be long enough.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see.
If you see just to show you what he's talking about here, is running the idle screw in here. To run this screw in as far as possible so that it will push this out, but we've only got another 1/2 inch of travel there, 3/4 of an inch of travel there, and we need to go out at least 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So we will have to find some way to prop this out. Let's move this out of the way.
I'm guessing we can wedge a tool in there or something.
That's what I was working on.
That works.
There. Just kind of wedge this in, lifted it up so the lifters are pushing on this against the backer plate. Now, if you don't plan on having your carbs balanced after doing this, or they're already in balance and you don't want to mess with how the balance is set up, don't touch these screws, or these screws.
Okay.
And you should be pretty safe.
Because those are the balancing adjustments.
Right. Those are what make sure the slides on the inside here, the slide with the needle valve on the inside of the carb where I was showing you earlier how it opens and closes, that piston, it controls how much air is let through each one of the carbs. You want them to be as close to in balance as possible. Unless you have cone filters on all of them, the way the air boxes are set up, the outside two are, on this air box setup, the outside two are going to be starved of air a little more than the center two are.
Okay.
So you've got to kind of deal with that. Cone filters are great in that you don't have to deal with the air box, and you can set it with a feeler gauge.
Oh, okay.
Twins, same kind of thing. Depending on how the air box is laid out, you can just set it with a feeler gauge.
See, for these, I've never seen it done with a feeler gauge. I've always seen it done with the tubes.
Yep.
Like water or whatnot. You know, a dude with a mason jar and some tubing and piece of wood.
The way that I've set it up before is have a piece of cardboard with some vinyl tube that comes down, then put transmission fluid on there because it's red and it's easy to see.
Oh, okay.
Measure it out so you've got the same amount, and you do this twice because this is a 4-cylinder. Find one of the air jets, which I'm not, or one of the vacuum ports, which I'm not seeing on these. They must be on the boots, or they use the factory boots with the air tube on it. Or it's a Japanese bike and they knew exactly what it had to be because they did it on their production line, and but the way you do it is find a vacuum port on each one of these carbs, hook it up so that this one and this one are on a single tube, and this one and this one are on a single tube, and make it so that the fluids, when they're held upright, are at the same level. It's called a manometer. That shows the balance between the two carbs, what kind of vacuum they're pulling.
Okay.
That's the redneck podunk town way to do it.
I'm sure we'll be making a video on that process pretty soon.
I hope we don't have to, but
so do I, but I can still see that, you know, with the amount of vehicles we work on here, it's only a matter of time until we end up getting to do that at some point.
Yeah, balancing
and
carbs.
it'll be a fun video.
Yeah.
All right.
The only ones that it's a real pain on are 3-cylinders, which I'll warn anyone out there, avoid 3-cylinders. I know we're going to get people replying, oh, 3-cylinders are the greatest. No, they're not.
All right.
This is my personal opinion, whatever.
What's next?
All right. Have to figure out how to get these slides off. We may be able to just fold this back and loosen this nut and rock this rock the arm back, and then pull the slide out. We'll see what we get when we get there. Can you hand me the regular screwdriver there? One of them, doesn't matter which. Thank you.
So that's just tabbed up as like a safety restraint to keep the nut from spinning?
Yep.
Okay.
And
You notice how that nut's shiny and the other three aren't?
yeah, looking like maybe someone's done this before, hopefully.
I'm guessing that nut's been replaced.
Yep. And not sure if you can see down in there what condition the needle's in, but this one, the one that was all goobered up
That's
on
the
the
water
inside.
cylinder?
Yeah, the water cylinder. That needle is goobered, so it's a good thing we've got the carb kit with the needles. But other than that, the needles look okay on the other ones.
Cool.
If you look, again, I'm not sure if you can see what they look like in there, but they're nice and shiny.
Show them where the needles are.
Oh, the needles are, where's a pointer? These guys right in here.
Yeah, pick the next cylinder over. It's way better lit.
Yeah, this shiny piece right here, that is the needle.
And that is the main valve for fuel mixing with air.
That's, well, yeah. There's the main jet, and then there's the primary needle. This is what it looks like on the what the needle should look like. There might be a little bit of whiting on there from the additives that we use in gasoline nowadays.
Okay.
But that's not really a big deal. Most of it you can take off with carb cleaner or brake cleaner. So
Now, brake and carb cleaner both tend to be pretty nasty stuff. What impact do they have on all the plastics and rubbers in these? I mean, there's a lot of O-rings and stuff like that.
if you can, take the rubber stuff off
Okay.
as much as possible. Any organics are going to be attacked by that carb cleaner, by that brake cleaner. Just you avoid getting it on there as much as possible, but it'll make it hard and brittle.
Okay.
So I don't see any rubber bits on here now. We've got these here, but I don't know how we're going to get them off without separating it and then having to rebalance the
What
carbs.
rubber bits do you see? Oh,
Those guys right
the
there.
tubes. Okay.
And now this one. All right, order of operations. Do this one first.
Well, here you got to show them. You're off the shot. There you go.
All right. Looks like this one would have come out better if we'd done this first. Now we know, and knowing is half the battle, right?
You need a different socket?
Nope, need a bigger wrench.
What do you need?
Or, sorry, not a wrench, something to push down.
what are the parts you're taking apart as we go? Just name them.
All right. I'm not sure what their technical name might be.
Oh, okay. Well,
So there looks to be a little spacer in here that keeps tension on the ball. And see how that's cupped and rides on the little ball there?
okay.
And then this little cup tip has or cupped spacer has a pointed cap to keep it centered in there. And then this will slide up. There. So it's a ball and cup setup, which will be easier to see once I pull it out. And there's another spacer.
So it's just a ball and socket joint, and then that's a little connecting rod there.
Yep.
For the piston.
And there's another ball down in there. So we will take out.
And the needle's attached to the bottom of that.
This is just a retainer.
Okay.
The needle's free floating inside.
Oh, okay.
And this thing is set up tight.
Do we need to get all that apart?
To get the needle out, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And this is the, no, that's not the gunged up one. There we go.
So there's a little screw down in the bottom in there?
Yep.
And they're pretty solid in there, too.
Yeah, 30 plus years of having fuel and whatever else flow through there. There we go.
Wow, there's like a million little tiny parts. You can put all this back together again, right?
Yep. This is a standard Honda mess.
Yeah, I like my Japanese aluminum.
Well, they just used lots of little parts. And that goes on. There's a little ball on the linkage here. And this goes down in there so we don't lose those bits. And yeah, I probably don't need to put those down in that. We'll
Just
stick.
put them in there just for no other reason to know where the hell they go.
I was going to put them with the other bits for this
Okay.
carb. So,
We should
Sharpie?
probably make a note of which notch we're in. Like here, we're on the second notch.
yep,
So when we put it back together, we put it on the second notch.
right. And to show you guys what he's talking about here, there are 5 notches here that will set how far down into the carb, or into the main jet tube that this goes. I believe it's called an emulsion tube. So if it doesn't go down all the way, you've got more fuel flowing around the taper to come up to the air.
Now, how far does that actually sit down into a tube?
Um,
Because that's a really long needle. I was just wondering how long the tube it goes into is.
we can look down in here. These are pulled out all of the way. And let's see, looks like it comes out to about there,
Oh, wow.
just judging by the taper.
So it's in there quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when it comes down to about here. We can see where it seats, because that's where the shiny spots are.
Okay. Cool. All right, well, shall we take apart the rest?
Yep.
All right, so we have it totally apart. The disassembly is done.
Everything is taken off. That should be taken off.
And it's the same as the first one, just 4 times over.
Right, right.
Okay.
Pretty boring. Needed to edit it, probably. So.
Yeah, we'll just show the first one. We won't show all 4 because, wow. It's not an exciting video. I mean, we're cleaning carbs. Okay, yeah. But now that it's all apart, the next step is it goes in your sauna of death over here.
Yeah, this
Okay. Here,
is...
I'll get out of the way. Let's show them what we got.
This is a little tank full of Yamaha carb cleaner. This stuff is great. It will tear up your skin, so don't get your hands in it. But you pretty much just take it and drop it in there.
Tasty.
Yep, and
Now,
you let it stew for a while.
It's not submerged, it's just in it.
We need to put something in there to displace the fluid and bring it up. You don't want to water it down past 50-50.
Okay.
Once it gets past that, it's not very good unless you're adding heat.
Okay, so what do we want to put in there to displace it?
Just about anything we can put in there. Doesn't really matter as long as it's not plastic and it's not carbon based.
So glass containers
Glass containers would be perfect.
out of the chem lab.
Yep.
All right.
Let's see what we can find.
Okay. All right, so we've let it cook for an hour, and you can't even see the bottom anymore.
No, it started
This
off
was-
looking like honey, and
Yeah.
now it's nasty.
It was kind of like a orangish, yellowish, but mostly clear.
Mhm.
And now there's like sediment and gunge and death. So we pull them out now?
Yep.
All right.
All right. So, be careful getting this stuff on your skin. It will turn your skin, the fats in your skin to soap.
Saponification.
Word of the day.
Yeah, there's your nickel word, saponification. I'm going to take a step back while you blow that out. So tell them about what you're doing there.
All right, we're going through and blowing out the guns that didn't get washed out. We're just blowing it out, trying to get as much crap out of there as we can.
Using our high-end custom air gun there. It's actually a basketball needle in there. Now, is there any risk of damaging anything doing that, like probing around in all the little holes and everything, or is it safe
Nope.
because we got everything out?
All the jets are out, so it should
Okay.
be okay.
Now, is there any danger of the residue of that stuff? Like, do we need to flush this out with anything else, or?
Generally don't have to. If you
Okay.
go through with a rag and wipe it all down,
Okay.
it should be fine.
That won't harm the engine at all if it breathes any of it.
It'll just blow it right back out.
Okay.
All right, it's clean.
Cool. So now back to the bench.
Yep, we'll
All
just
right.
take it over there and start wiping all the
It looks amazing.
leftovers off.
It
Yeah, it
looks
really
amazing.
cleaned it up in there. It'll look
Yeah.
even better after we take a rag to it.
All right, cool. Let's go. All right, so we're at the bench, and it's looking amazing.
Yep, we're going through and wiping everything off, trying to make it look pretty. The outsides don't have to be perfect, but you're doing work. You're
Yeah.
already here.
You do a job of it, you know. It's just a
Right.
couple paper towels and 5 extra minutes, but that looks brand new.
That
That's amazing.
stuff really wakes them up.
So now we just basically clean it all off, put it all back together, and use new parts in replace of the old parts.
Yep.
Okay.
And I think that's got everything with it.
It's
so
got a lot of stuff to it.
we shouldn't need to use much of the old parts other than the screws and
Yeah,
washers
yeah.
and
I expect this to have a profound effect on the performance of the motorcycle.
I-
Like, you know, all 4 cylinders will work now.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the little things.
And Olivier and what's the other gentleman's name?
Joe Simon. Yes,
Yeah.
they made us new springs here. I'll show them. Here's one of the old springs. They look like that. And that is made out of a piece of pallet strapping. The springy banding stuff, pallet banding. They made that. And it's not an exact match. It doesn't have the little vertical bends here because they kept breaking off. They made like 3 of them. So we're just going to make it work without them. It's not like a super critical part, I'm guessing.
No, it's just a locator, so when you're putting the bowl on, it doesn't slop around.
Oh, okay.
But with the newer O-rings that are on there, they should hold it in place pretty well. And then once the bowl is on there, it's not going to move around.
Okay. So we're fine.
Right.
It's really eroded down around that. The center columns.
Yeah.
Like, do those rust or? I mean, it's made out of like cast zinc or something, isn't it?
It's
It looks like pot metal.
It's a zinc, aluminum, whatever.
Okay.
It's little bits of everything, pot
Yeah.
metal. But it should be okay. I mean, they're pretty low tolerance as long as there's not fuel flowing around,
Okay.
which those O-rings will take care of.
I never expected them to be like worn down and corroded like that inside. That really
It's-
surprised me.
It's even worse when you're using alcohol fuels. Methanol is horrible. It will eat up a lot of stuff.
Do you want it? Look, we got a whole box full of towels here. We can hook you up, man. I know we're low budget, but we ain't that low budget.
All right, so I'm starting to put the seats and valves back in, the little not check valves, float valves. Try and put those back in. Just one at a time, working along slowly.
Man, I'm good at this. All right, those are done.
All right, we've put all the jets back in and put the float back in. Now on to the screw here. And this is the one where we counted out 1.5.
Mm-hmm. 2 1 1/4, 1.5.
Right.
Now, what is that adjustment, and what is that you're messing with there?
This is part of the idle air circuit.
Okay.
So it controls how much air is flowing into this little, port right here.
Okay.
And from where that goes, I'm not quite sure.
Oh, all right. Well, that's all right.
Um,
We know where to put it. We have a pretty good idea what it does. That's good enough for me. My guess is that anybody doing this would have the climber manual for it and, have a rough idea what they're doing. And we're there to help.
Where is this guy? When you put sharp objects into these holes on the sides, any of the jets that are screw-in like this have they don't have a hole through the center. do not scratch the inside of the chamber if you can. If you're going to use something, if you have a blunt end on it, that's great. But just don't scratch the inside. It will disturb the airflow and make things not act right.
So you push it in, get the screw engaged,
Mm-hmm.
take it all the way down, and then back off.
1 1/2,
1 1/4,
1 1/4.
yeah.
You're right. Since these jets are made by a different manufacturer, they're not the stocker jets because those haven't been made in 20 years.
Okay.
We'll have to check your plugs.
To tell if we're running rich or lean.
Right.
How long does that take to show up on the plugs?
After the engine warms up.
Really, that fast?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So we're all the way in. Now we're going to back it out.
Now, how do you read a plug? How do you, when you're looking at it, how do you know if it's rich or lean?
You want to try and get it a tan color. If it's too white and ashy, then you're running too lean. If it's black or
Like
sooty looking,
it's too rich.
then it's too rich, or you've got an oil leakage problem.
Okay. Which you can get odds on that. I don't know. It's a Honda though, not a Harley, so the oil leak isn't mandatory.
Right, and it's not British, so British is just as bad as
Yeah.
Harley for leaking oil. So that one is assembled.
Cool. We just got to put the covers on it. Did you do the funny thing with the linkage on top, or did you just do the bottom side?
No, I put the slide in also.
Oh wow. Okay.
I didn't put the top screw in though,
Okay.
which is
You don't even know.
it's this batch here.
Oh. Okay. In that pile of real important looking stuff that ain't in there anymore?
Yep.
Okay. All right, the little plate.
Yeah, this guy.
Why did you start with 3? Or 2?
That's just what I grabbed. There is no system.
I'm a step away from counting toothpicks over here at this point. I just want you to know that, okay?
I am anarchic at best.
There's a little recessed machine flat spot. So that, now I understand why the little tabs fold up. I get it now. It's a really weird lock washer tab thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Keeps it from walking away.
Or getting sucked through the engine.
It's not going to happen here.
Oh, okay.
It's blocked off.
All right, it's 10 o'clock at night. We have 6 minutes of battery left in the camera, and the carbs are together. When we come back, we will put these in the motorcycle and get it up and running, and that'll be a whole bit of victory unto itself. But for now, we're going to have to leave you guys there. I promise we will shoot video of this in the motorcycle running in the next day or two. We'll bang it out.
Yep.
So, all right, you guys have fun. Thanks for watching, and now you know how to rebuild carbs, or at least you know the basics of it. I'm Chris Bowden.
I'm Craig Bailey.
We'll see you next time. Have fun.
This video was made possible by a grant from the Future Girl Foundation.
This video was made possible by thousands of private donations from members and viewers like you. Please visit thegeekgroup.org for more information on how you can donate and become a part of our dreams of Avalon.